Hello, welcome back to Sweet Sycamore Devotions. We're in our special bonus episodes of Under the Sycamore because we were talking about relationships and love and marriage and kind of just our journey here in February since it's Valentine's Day month. So I thought I would bring in one of my favorite people and we talk about love.
Love and all it entails.
Maybe not all that it entails, just so you know.
No.
We're leaving that off the
PG,
table.
PG.
No, this is family friendly. But we talked about our story and submission last time, and I thought we'd talk about communication. We're actually going to be speaking about communication at our upcoming marriage retreat in just a couple weeks. And so I thought, I'll just tell you a little snippet even before we do that. So
I know.
we communicate pretty well.
Yeah, we do. Well, we don't get in many arguments, which is good. So
No.
yeah.
But I think part of that, there's some key things I think that we do practice in communication. So I thought, well, let's just share them. We won't hoard all the information. Maybe there's other people, and this doesn't have to be in marriage. This can go just in relationships, period, I think, for communication.
Yeah. Communication is huge, right? You use it in every part of your life. So knowing how to communicate and actually having the communication is probably the biggest issue I think a lot of couples have, is that they don't actually have the communication. Think they're having the communication because every day they're saying hi and they're talking a little bit chit chat here and there, but they never get into actual communication, and then they end up being roommates more than they are actually partners.
I was trying to look up what we did years ago, but we talked about like the levels of communication, and I'm sure it's somewhere out there. That'd be great for you to look up. But basically the gist of it was that like level 1 and 2 is like, hey, I'm picking up the kids, or here's the plan for the day, or here's the ABC that I did today. And that's like it. Maybe the level 2 would be asking an opinion, or do we need something? Or what do you think about this? But like most people actually stop there, where if you get down deeper, you start saying, here's how I feel about this. And then obviously the deepest level of communication was where you actually share like your dreams, your aspirations, your hurts, your feelings, like those things that you don't share with very many people. And it was actually like, we barely get to like out of the, I'm here, you're doing this kind of thing throughout the day. And therefore there's no room for the other levels of communication where things get deeper.
You need to have that time too, because it's not that you need to live in that deep level all the time. And even the research didn't say that. It was about getting there at least once a week where you actually chance to communicate that level. And that brings a connection between you two. It helps with the communication. So you really are connecting on a deeper level.
Yeah, I think there is like, obviously they label intimacy as one thing, but I think intimacy is communication. It's letting somebody into the deepness of your soul, and here's what I'm thinking, and here's what I'm feeling. And I know as women, sometimes we are a little bit more in tune to that. Like, guys,
men don't tell about their feelings, or
no.
Well, we are not prone to talk about that. We're just kind of
But it's
raised
not that you don't have them.
No, we actually absolutely have the feelings. And sometimes how we're raised, we don't really feel like we know how to talk about our feelings, our desires and all those things. We feel almost like we shouldn't. We should be able to, we're men. We need to suck it up. We need to be tough, and that's just how we do it. But that's not actually, God didn't set it that way. As a partnership, you need to have an open line of communication. You need to have those times where you talk about things that are on your heart, and be able to get to that level. So we do that. I think we do it pretty frequently. We try to do that. So.
Yeah, I mean, we have some rules that I think we establish, like when I think our time is like, we've always said the kids go to bed. I mean, they're 9 and 11 now, the boys are. And so they want to stay up later. And we're like, no, you get to go to bed at 8 o'clock. And
they play in their beds for a while.
Oh, they do. But the idea is that we have time, just the two of us, where we chit chat. And we've already raised our daughter. She's adult and out of the house and living an adult life. And we went through that series where she was like, she'd be out with us at 10 o'clock, and we'd be like, okay, now we're going to go to our room. And we would have to make sure we even had that separation there, because just so we could talk, and just so we could say, okay, how was your day? How did things really go? Because, I mean, you have a very stressful job. I mean, you're dealing with you don't know, he's a physician in the hospital, and you deal with end of life conversations day in, day out, life and death.
All the time. Yep.
All the time. And so sometimes it's that place where I can be like, how was your day really? Like, really, what happened? And how can you pray over somebody? You kind of have to know what's going on in here to know how to pray for your spouse.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think having that direct questions is good.
Good. And then having that time. I just want to reemphasize, there's a lot of married couples who keep their kid up to 10, 11 o'clock at night, and then they all go to bed at the same time. They never have a time alone with their spouse. And your kids are very important, and they're a gift from the Lord, and you need to put all your energy in raising them and loving them and being that parent they need. But you can't be that parent if you don't invest into each other. And so if you can't invest in each other, and eventually your kids do get out of the house. So that does happen. So
it's
you
true.
need to, if they get out of the house and you've not invested into your...
Who are you?
Who are you? You get out and you're like, I don't know, why am I with you still? And that happens, sadly.
Actually, it happens a lot.
Quite a bit. And at church, you can see that people coming for counseling and all that. And it happens. People kids get out of the house, they don't know who they are anymore because they have not invested in each other, and then they end up they get separated. So that's something you really have to put effort toward. So.
Yeah, communicating is a big piece, I think, of and I'll be honest, sometimes it's scary because I know, I feel like we've always had open communication, so you are a safe space. And sometimes communication doesn't always feel safe with your spouse. And I feel for that for people that are in those relationships. But I think the idea is to still keep trying, because the moment you stop, like as long as you're both in this to work on this relationship, you have to communicate. And sometimes I think we don't really have that necessarily problem, but I think there are people, and I think that listening is a big piece of communication. Here's
a little clue for us guys. Those guys out there, here's a little nugget. You don't need to fix it.
No.
You don't.
No.
You don't need to fix it. All you need to do is listen.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me because, like, I am a physician. So, and as a physician, we're like mechanics for like a car. We're like mechanics for people. We see a problem, we want to fix it. That's what we want to do.
I don't want you to fix it.
And I love to fix things.
I just want you to listen.
No, and she's like, no, I just want to listen. And I had to learn that. I still have to pull myself back, like, am I listening? A great communication suggestion is just, if your wife starts talking, you're like, honey, do you want me to fix this? Do you want me to listen? And just ask. And if she says, she'll let you know. I just want you to listen.
Or
okay, I can listen. And it means listening, right? That doesn't mean like half listening and watching TV. That's not what we're talking about. Listening.
Engaging. Don't be on your phone when you're trying to communicate.
Yes, put the phone down.
That feels like you're not really listening, even if you are listening.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing, is we all think communication is talking, but it is almost double. We always tell our kids, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should listen double than what you speak.
Yes.
But they're still working on that one. But I do feel like for us, even in relationships, listening is big. Because if somebody doesn't feel comfortable saying something and you're really listening, you can almost pick up between things.
Yep. And the other thing too is a lot of time arguments come out of lack of listening or not having that time to really communicate. And then you start misunderstanding what's going on with your wife or your spouse. And, and it too, also, always give your spouse the benefit of the doubt, especially in arguments. I know in arguments we have where we usually if I'm tired or whatever, and, I'm getting a little snippy or whatever, things happen.
I feel like that's me.
Yeah. But, the biggest thing is you have to be able to stop yourself in that moment. And it's hard and it takes practice to stop yourself in that moment and go, is this eternal? Is this something that is going to make a difference in eternity? Or is this something that is just here and now and is annoying? Or it's just frustrating now? If you can separate yourself from the emotions and really think through this at that time, you can stop yourself from going further with a lot of arguments. And or even bringing up things that might be annoying. You're like, this is not important. This is not eternal. This is just stupid. So move on.
Our boys were fighting in the car. We were on our way to church. It was several months ago. And Hezekiah said, I forgive you, but I will remind you of this the next time you do that.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, we need to talk about what forgiveness is, because you can't forgive and then choose to be like, I will remind you this. And I think that's
you can't hold on.
but
No.
that's like in relationships, right?
Absolutely.
Like, oh, I'm going to forgive you because I know God tells me to forgive you, but you just wait. It's stored back there,
Yeah.
like
God forgives and forgets.
Yeah. Like when we forgive somebody, we have the beautiful opportunity of we're releasing them of that, and truly forgiving. And that releases us too. It's a freedom for us too. But yeah, I definitely feel like bringing things up again and again.
We don't. I mean, I can say in our relationship, I don't bring up past past problems. I don't. And I think that's something that I actually purposely make sure never to do, because my mind is one of these things where I'll think about it. I think you're like that, dude. I think afterwards you think about it. You think about it in the moment, not so quick, but like afterwards we'll think about it, and then we'll hold on. If you can easily hold on to these things, and that's not God. God doesn't do that to us.
No.
Are we supposed to be like Jesus in our relationship with our spouse? Of all things, you should be like Jesus with your spouse. If you can't do that, you're not being like Jesus at all. I mean, that's the basics.
Yeah,
So,
choosing to let it go.
Let it go.
Sing the Frozen song.
Yeah,
let it go.
That's right.
Let it go. I mean, but there is some truth to that. I think that because if we don't, that's where bitterness creeps in. And that's, the enemy is so good at going into our weaknesses. Like he knows the areas that we're holding on to, and those are the areas he's just going to dig a little bit deeper because we've chosen to hold on to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we've been very intentional about is we don't have, outside of like when I'm moody and it happens, like we don't have a lot of like little tips or anything. I know like I'll be moody and I'm like, oh, I need to put myself in timeout because that wasn't directed at anybody except my own issues in this moment right now, where I just either need a sleep or a snack or both. Yes. But I do feel like sitting on things is not always a bad thing. I know, somebody once told me like when you sit on things, that's like pushing it under the rug and you're just going to have to deal with it later. I would say yes, there are certain big things that you need to deal with and those big things. But then there are a lot of little things like, you get snippy with me when I try to teach you how to drive.
Yeah. Yes. She's put it on the brake on her side of the car.
I just make sure he knows his full surroundings at all times when we're driving. Yes. I am aiding you, just making sure that you can help. But you get snippy with me, and then sometimes I get snippy back. And instead of letting it be a full blown thing, I always go, "This is stupid. Like this is genuinely like stupid," and we always move on. Like we always it just doesn't exist 10 minutes later. Wow. And I think that those are those things, like, it's not that we're putting it under a rug. It's the fact that we both knew in our hearts that wasn't right on either one of our accounts. And we just know, instead of having to have a full-blown, like, apology, we just kind of go,
let it go.
Let it go. Let it go.
Is it important for eternity? Is it something that's going to affect your family? Is it something that's going to be detrimental to your spouse's growth and relationship with Jesus? If you're thinking of those things and that, if it's no, move on.
Let it go.
And for us guys, you have a sports analogy. The best quarterbacks are the ones who forget the interception the night they play before and go through and play out again. And they do well. It's because they leave it behind.
I don't even know what an interception is. So I'm going to say yes, what he said, because that's right. I watch football for the nap.
Yeah, she takes naps during football. But yes, it's true. The best quarterbacks have very short-term memory. They let it go. Then they're great. We have to do the same thing.
Yep. So we have to talk.
Yeah.
We have to listen.
Yeah.
We have to let it go. And we have to know when to engage. Yeah. And I will say, honestly, and I think it goes back to this even for communication, we don't have all the answers. We don't know sometimes when we're supposed to talk it out, when we're not. Sometimes we try to talk it out at the worst times. They may be convenient for us, but they're not a convenient time for our spouse, and we've set it up for disaster. And I will tell you, there's a lot of pieces and levels to communication. It's not just like something we can cover in 15, 20 minutes. But what I will say is taking your spouse to prayer is it's probably the most important piece of communication. When you are communicating to God about things that you are frustrated with or things like that, it's amazing to me how that level of communication helps this level of communication, because
Absolutely.
God will either soften my heart of like, hey, you need to let that go, or he will remind me of like things you're going through and like, why am I giving you a hard time about this? Or just pieces like that. And we always think that when we take our spouse to prayer that it's for them.
Most times for ourselves.
Absolutely
God's
is.
working on us. And it's true. I mean,
It
if
is.
you're not bathing your spouse in prayer, you're not going to be able to have good communication. That's like foundation. You have to be bathing in prayer. You have to put God first in your relationship. If that is not happening, then having those communications is not going to be really even achievable. You're not going to really have the communication you need.
No.
Because God will always correct your heart and change your perspective.
He always will. It's not always the fun conversations, but it's the most rewarding conversations.
It's true. That's
I
true.
will say.
Yeah.
Any last pieces of advice on communication?
When you argue naked. It's always
Oh
great.
my goodness. No.
We never done that, but I heard someone else say that. I laughed so far. It was great.
I thought we were keeping this PG. You said PG. Okay.
I heard someone else say that. It was great. I thought I laughed so hard.
Oh, well, we're going to leave you on that note. All right. Well, go try and communicate with somebody you love. Talk things out.
Yeah.
Get deep.
Yeah.
Share what's going on. Don't be afraid. I think sometimes my biggest piece of advice is we hold back communication out of fear, out of shame. We anticipate how things are going to go. And I'll tell you what,
99% of the time, never happens, right?
it doesn't go the
No.
way that we think it's going to go. And then we actually end up kind of cutting a relationship off because we never engaged in the communication. And the times that I bathed the communication in prayer and then engaged in it, it always turned out so much better than I thought it was going to. So talk, listen double as much,
Yep.
and always bathe it in prayer.
Absolutely.